Okay, thanks everybody for coming out on Friday afternoon here. Exciting day for us. I've got Orlando here, a guy that we've had to compete against, unfortunately, for the last couple of years, and always really been impressed with the type of player he is. And the more I've got to know about him, just through mutual friends and the type of person that he is, he's a great fit for our locker room. We're really excited that we were able to get him in here to come in here and play left tackle for us and help us win those championships that we've been pursuing these last couple of years. And that's what he's all about. He's experienced that before. He's played at a high level for a long time, multi-year Pro Bowl player. And so we're really fortunate for me to be able to introduce Orlando to our Bengals Nation here today. And I'll turn it over to him, and I'll get out of here and let him have his day here and let you guys ask him a bunch of questions. But here's Orlando.
Yep. I just want to start off by saying thank you to this organization, the coach here, Coach Pollack as well, Mr. Brown, everyone. This is an opportunity that I'm so thankful and appreciative for. And none of this is possible without God. And I'm so thankful and appreciative to be able to have the opportunity to play left tackle for a franchise like this, to be able to block for a guy like Joe Burrow, to be able to play in a system like this is truly something special, and I'm super excited for the opportunity.
Orlando, what went through your mind when the deal got done on Wednesday night?
Yeah, a lot, man. A lot, because we all kind of, as young men and young kids, we set dreams and goals in this sport. And for me, man, I just want to be a franchise left tackle, and I want to win football games. I want to win Super Bowls, and to be able to have the opportunity to play somewhere like here in Cincinnati. I've been on the other side of things, for some years, and just playing and competing against this group year in and year out. It's you kind of know what you're getting, and I knew when that offer came through, it was something I couldn't pass up.
Can you take us back through the last year with Kansas City? There's been a lot of speculation that the Chiefs maybe wanted you to play right tackle, and that's why things didn't get done. Can you tell us about that and why it's so important for you to get this deal as a left tackle?
Yeah, as far as that, I really don't want to dive into that too much, but I am a left tackle, and I've played that in my entire life. Kansas City, as far as I know, never personally asked me to play right, but I just felt like this was an opportunity for me to be able to be a left tackle and a franchise left tackle. And, I have a 2-year-old son, and I always, preach to him, even though he may not understand, be better than me. And that was something my dad was really big on in our household. And he was a right tackle for 13 years. And for a long time, he felt like he never necessarily got his gratification because of that. And, not necessarily blocking the premier guys. And, as a young child, I set out, to be a left tackle in this league. I studied Jonathan Ogden. I studied Andrew Whitworth. I watched those guys, Tony Baselli, Anthony Munoz even. And, to be able to be here in this position, it's just crazy. But that's it.
What does it mean? This goes without saying, but how much was coming here the allure of playing with a quarterback like Joe Burrow?
Yeah, big time. I'm kind of spoiled, you could say, in the football world with the guys that I've played with, the teams I've been on as well. But being able to play with a guy like Nine, and that's a tough opportunity to pass up, knowing that we're both the same age and at similar points in our career.
When the week started, the negotiating period opened, did the Bengals immediately kind of come was this did this develop as the week went on? How did the week go for you in terms of offers and things like that?
Yeah. We had some interest from some other teams, but I believe Cincinnati had the most interest, and this was something that we wanted to get done. This was something that they wanted to get done, and thank God it was able to.
At what point did you feel like Cincinnati was the destination?
Yeah, honestly, once they reached out to us, I felt like this was the best situation.
That happened on Monday?
Yep.
So were they in your radar before free agency? Like the weeks before, were you thinking like Cincinnati could be a place, or did it kind of come out of nowhere for you?
Yeah, I didn't really know. You know what I mean? It's one of those things, man. That's the business side of it. That's probably a better question for my agents. But I just, like I said, once I heard it was Cincinnati, man, this is a tough opportunity to pass up, regardless. So everything worked out.
So offensive line has obviously been a big topic in this city for years now.
Yeah. Yep.
What are fans going to see from you?
Yeah.
What are they going to get in Orlando Brown?
Yeah, no, I mean, you're getting a competitor, and I think I've proven that. You know, you're getting a competitive left tackle that loves to block one-on-one, loves to have those opportunities. You're getting somebody that's a leader in the locker room, that's going to be a leader in the offensive line room. You know, it's my responsibility to do my best and go out there and compete at a high level every single week, every single day. So, yeah, you're getting a fierce competitive left tackle.
Now, talk about your leadership. You've obviously been to the Super Bowl. You won a Super Bowl. Cincinnati's come close a couple times.
Yep.
What do you think you can bring to the table in terms of that experience?
Yeah, I just, you know, and you kind of stated there with my leadership. I personally feel like this isn't a team that's far away. You know, they're right there on the cusp, and you know, it's been some things here that happen here and there, but you know, even in Arrowhead last year, you know, they're a few plays away from being in the Super Bowl, and you know, it's a lot, but you know, I just feel like my leadership that I'm bringing, my competitive spirit, being able to mess with the other guys in the room, I feel like that's probably the main things.
Have you talked to Joe Burrow since you've gotten here?
I have, yeah, man. We actually had lunch yesterday.
How'd that go?
It went really well. I had the opportunity to get to know him a little bit. It's my first time meeting him. You know, he's fired up just like I was, and man, we sat and talked over cheeseburgers, believe it or not, in the hotel room. But I asked him a bunch of questions about himself, vice versa, Cincinnati as a whole, the system, scheme, coaches, locker room, all of that, man. And I mean, you know, you can tell right away, you know, why he's had the success he's had.
You blocked for Lamar when he won MVP. You blocked for Pat Mahomes when he won MVP.
Yep.
I mean, having that specific experience, how much does that really help out a guy like Joe Burrow who's going to have you protecting him?
Yeah, big time, big time. I personally feel like, and I mentioned that to him as well. But you know, ultimately, Joe isn't in this for self-accolades. You know, he won Super Bowls, and I'm in it for the same reason.
What number are you going to wear?
75. Yep.
How much of an impact did your father have, both on you personally and obviously in your career?
Yeah, he had a huge impact on me. It's you know, it's a lot because, you know, obviously he's not here, but he had a huge impact on me and you know, where I'm at in life. He gave me so much insight as far as, you know, the game and learning things and you know, most importantly, being an amazing person off the field and you know, I'm so thankful for both of my parents. I'm so thankful for my father and all the lessons taught and learned. And man, you know, I could talk about that for hours, but I just want to keep it short.
What do you know about the rest of the Bengals offensive linemen, if you know anything?
Yeah, I've had the opportunity to talk to Teddy K, talk to Kappa a little bit. He laughed when I said Teddy K. Everybody laughs when I say Teddy K for some reason, but yeah, I had the opportunity to talk to him, Kappa, and Volson as well. So it seemed like a great room, great group of guys. I look forward to getting to work with them. Everybody's, what do they call them, glass eaters. So I'm glad to be a glass eater. But no, it seems like a ton of energy, ton of positive energy in the room. And I mean, just guys that really love the game, love to work.
You come from a very accomplished line in Kansas City.
Yep.
In your experience, and they're obviously building that same kind of unit here, what are the characteristics of a good offensive line unit from front to end?
Yeah, I think to be a great offensive line, it really starts with the camaraderie of the group off the field. And having that trust in each other in certain situations off the field, and you know, being in Kansas City, have won the Super Bowl with all those great men in that room. Our camaraderie was truly special. We spent a lot of time together off the field, and that naturally, you know, when you get in those positions, when you're in the position on the field, you know what I mean, you're battle tested. You know that the man next to you is ready for the fight, and that's something that. You know, obviously, I haven't been here, so I don't really know specifically details on things like that. But I just feel like, you know, that camaraderie is probably the most important thing.
How much did your perception of this organization, and you have a unique perspective, change, Orlando, over the last 2 years?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, it's crazy to say that, but yeah, I mean, they've been able to really turn the corner, and I never felt like the Bengals were far away. I've always felt like the talent pool here, the guys I've had to play, whether that be Carl Lawson, Sam Hubbard, I mean, Geno Atkins, they've had Carlos Dunlap, they've had guys, and you know, I believe that, you know, Coach Taylor coming in here, the step that he's been able to make, obviously Mr. Brown, whatever he's doing to allow that. I feel like I've been able to kind of see from afar the transition on everything, but it's moving in a really positive direction.
Orlando, on one of the TV shows when you were doing stuff on ESPN, I
Yep.
think you were talking about how last year it was hard for you mentally to play on the tag
Yep.
because of potential injuries, things like that.
Yep.
How much clearer is your mind going to be moving forward now that you have this 4-year deal with the Bengals?
Yeah, very clear, very clear. And to be able to have the opportunity to play for a franchise that, is really believing in me long term, to give me the opportunity to be able to protect someone like Joe, to be able to go out there and be the man that I want to be. Last year was really hard on me just because of, the worries of injuries and, the worries of maybe not being there long term, or, relationships you build in the locker room and around the building. Those type of things kind of, they mess with you a little bit. And, it didn't necessarily affect my game, but it was definitely something that was on my mind and heart.
Have you felt the reaction from the fan base?
Yeah, big time, man, big time. I'm so happy to be a Bengal. There's been a lot of positive energy. I can't wait to get in the city, get involved in the community, be able to go out and shake some of these people's hands and see their faces.
Have you thought about what it would be like to be part of the first Bengal team to win a Super Bowl?
I have. Me and Joe were talking about that yesterday. I mean, it's going to be really cool, and I believe that's something that's going to happen, especially with 9. Coach, man, I mean, it's just, as I said, so many positive things I could say, but defensively, how well they are here, how schematically, how great they are here defensively, too. I mean, they got all the pieces, in my opinion, and I'm very, very happy to be a part of it.
I know just based on the field and blocking for Burrow, this is a destination you wanted to be at, but were there any conversations the last couple of days that you had that helped sell you on this place to really affirm that, yeah, this is definitely where I want to be?
Yeah, I mean, just, for them to believe in me as a left tackle was enough. And, man, I'm willing to put my life on the line for that.
You're probably too young. You're probably too young to remember some of those old Ravens, Bengals games.
Not at all. I do.
Remember your dad talking about it?
I do. Yeah. I remember them real specifically, man. There, obviously that rivalry is super competitive. Having been on that side as a fan and as a player, it's super overly competitive. But honestly, it's a lot of teams that really want to beat Cincinnati, and just around the NFL. I think that obviously the Ravens rivalry is real. You know what I mean? But I feel like the last few years, this organization has kind of come out on top on that end.
Did he ever talk about Chad jumping on his back?
Oh, I know the whole story about that one. Yeah, I know. Yeah, so as far as I know, my dad was warming up pregame out here, and I think at the time it was Paul Brown Stadium, and I can't remember who he was talking to or something like that, but my dad's warming up, and he's a real rough and rugged guy, and when it came game day, like, I couldn't even talk to him as his son, so he didn't mess around, and believe it or not, Chad Johnson jumps on his back, and my dad's chasing him around the field. And they say the visual is Chad Johnson's backpedaling around the stadium in a circle. Like, hey, I'm just playing, I'm just kidding. And long story short, my dad chased him into the locker room. Police had to stop him from getting in the locker room. Team security came out and grabbed him. Yeah, man, So I could only imagine how mad he was. I couldn't even ask for a handshake on game day. So.
Chad asked Willie what he should do, and Willie said, stay in here until the game starts.
I believe it. TJ Houshmandzadeh actually told me that story too. So.
You talked about the Bengals-Ravens rivalry. How do you characterize this growing Bengals-Chiefs?
Yeah, I know it's really intense. It's really intense, I believe, on both sides, just because the Chiefs, obviously being one of the top teams in the AFC, if not the top team at the time, Cincinnati, where they are, it's always competition as far as who's going to get the seedings, and it's those games have just become so important for that part and aspect of the game for playoffs, and so it's just naturally created this competitive rivalry. You know what I mean? As you could say, Bills Chiefs rivalry. You know what I mean? Or possibly Bills Bengals rivalry. It's those big games are going to come up, especially when you're playing a #1 schedule every year.
In the weeks leading up to the AFC Championship, or the week leading up to the AFC Championship game, how aware were you guys of the Burrowhead comment? How did that play?
Yeah, very, very aware, man. But I got a ton of respect for the organization, and man, I got nothing negative to say.
Do you think there's they talk about the AFC North. I mean, is there, I mean, do you think it's, you've been in the other division for a couple of years. I mean, is it unique?
No, it is. It's really competitive, top to bottom. And all divisional games in the NFL are competitive. But AFC North is different. And there's a reason that a lot of guys come in this division and they leave and have success. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily for the weak. You know what I mean? It's a lot of big physical, big boy football, and you know, each organization is very old school. You could say somewhat in their approach, and I feel like, you know, that kind of shows up on Sundays on the film.
Does that play into you? Does that play into you?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm more of an old school type of player than anybody in the league right now. You know what I mean? That's what makes me so different.
Why is that?
Just my lack of athleticism, my size. You know, it's you know, I'm a chip off the old block. It's not a lot of guys out there like me, and I've been below the line, you know, my entire career and my entire life, to be honest. But I think what's allowed me to put myself in this position is that old school mindset that's been instilled in me from my father, my mentor Jamal, and it's one of the reasons I'm here.
You still play with a chip on your shoulder?
Yeah, I got a huge chip. Yeah, I will always have a chip on my shoulder. I always got a lot to prove. And, you know, I've also got really big goals and dreams and things that I set personally for myself that I haven't even come close to touching yet. And, you know, so many more Super Bowls I want, and so many more All Pros I want to make, so many more Pro Bowls I want to make. It's a lot. I got a really big chip on my shoulder.
Judging by your tweet the other night and along those lines,
Mm-hmm.
the pre-draft process clearly fuels you.
Yep.
How?
Yeah. Well, you know, obviously what happened at the Combine, you know, my pro day and all of that, you know, it's just kind of who I am as an athlete. It's nothing necessarily you could say special there.
Can you just take us through the process of, at the Combine, was Orlando Brown on your radar, and then when you found out he wasn't going to be tagged again by the Chiefs, was he someone that, you know, you really stood on the table for? Like, how did you get involved in landing Orlando Brown?
Yeah, really, it's my hat's off to Duke and his crew and the ownership, because it really kind of came out of nowhere. I was not expecting us to be in position to do anything for someone of his caliber. And it just kind of came on our radar, with me anyways, the day that I think we got that deal done. So it was exciting. He said, hey, take a look at this guy, and he might be in play. I'm like, you got to be kidding me, really? Wow. I was like, so that was surprising. And so like I mentioned, ownership group and Duke, man, and his crew is like, wow, it's fantastic. So it's an exciting day for the Bengals.
What was your reaction? What was your reaction when the deal did get done?
I was like, well, when it officially got done late at night, I guess I was kind of already in bed sleeping. So I woke up to a bunch of text messages early in the morning. I was like, what? It must have went down. I was like, wow. So it was a little surprising and exciting. So I didn't need much coffee to wake me up that morning. I'll tell you that. That was fun.
Frank?
He's got great length. He's got great size. He's got really good feet for a man his size. He's stout. He can displace people in the run game. And I keep mentioning this. It's amazing to me that the success he's had on both sides at this level. It's impressive. Really, credit to him. I mean, obviously. So it's pretty fantastic. So he's a talented player, and just getting to know him. And from all accounts, with people that I've checked in on him and his past coaches, past teammates, all had glowing things to say about what kind of a man he is, what kind of a guy he is. So,
Frank, there was a reporter earlier today that Jonah's requested a trade. Have you talked to him since this has gone down?
yeah, you know, we've reached out to Jonah. I've reached out to Jonah, and I don't want to really spend a lot of time talking about that. I mean, I'd love to coach Jonah. I love coaching him, and there's an old saying that this is a great game and a crazy business, and I hope we get to coach him. He's a good football player. He's got a bright future, and hopefully it's still here with the Bengals in 2023.
Just following up on that, with LC rehabbing, and you're not sure right now when he's going to be able to go. You guys just added Cody Ford, and with this recent report about Jonah, what would you say the right tackle spot looks like right now for you guys?
I guess you could say a little bit undetermined for all the reasons that you brought up. I mean, it's March 17th, so happy St. Patty's Day to you guys. Shout out to my dad. It's his birthday. Happy birthday to my dad. But so, I mean, we got a lot of time to figure that out, right? Training camp, off season. So it's we'll line up somebody, I promise, at right tackle when we need to. So it'll be fun to figure out how that all works out. That's part of the excitement of being a part of the NFL.
But on that note, in terms of the permanence, You know, Orlando was up here saying he feels one of the reasons he signed was he knows he's going to be left tackle here
Right.
for 4 years.
Right.
How does it help you to know you've got that guy at your left tackle for 4 years?
Right. It's outstanding. It's fantastic. It allows you to kind of hone in on a couple different areas of need and work guys in the rotation on one area as opposed to flip-flopping guys and trying to get guys both sides reps. And so that always helps. The more of those type of guys you can get on your line, the better.
You mentioned Orlando's length at left tackle. I mean, you have Cordell at left guard. How beneficial is it to have two guys that are that big on one side of your offensive line?
It's fantastic. They're both really strong power players, and we got to maximize and take advantage of what those guys do best, and that's definitely one of them.
When you said that you had someone came to you and said, check out this guy, when it's a player of Orlando's caliber, I'm sure obviously you're aware of all the
Right.
very talented offensive linemen. Does it make it easier in terms of you don't have to watch as much film because he's already such a proven player that you're familiar with?
Yeah, I mean, he's a proven player, but I'm spending most of my time studying our guys and our defensive players that we're going against, not so much offensive players in the league until free agency comes up. And so we'll have areas of guys that we think that we may be able to focus on based on our cap constraints, if you will. And then so you're not really looking at the top tier talent tackles at that time. So it's like, hey, refresh yourself with this guy and, take a look at him. It's like, it's an easy thing to do at that point,
You said the length and the stoutness. Would you think, how would you rate his ability as a run blocker versus a pass blocker?
How would I rate them?
Well, I mean, which do you think he's better at, I guess is the question.
I would say he's probably equally good at both. I mean, you obviously are going to want to put him in situations in the run game where he excels, and we do that with some of the things that we were doing all towards the end of last year. That's what he does, what he's been doing. So I think he's just as equal excelling at both. I mean, obviously there's a premium on pass protection, especially at the left tackle spot, really at either tackle spot in this modern day football. So, but he's an accomplished player. It's proven, and excited to have him. Can't wait to get on the grass with him.
Sorry if they asked you this, Frank, but in 2018, did you work him out? And what was your impression of his combine?
I don't think I worked him out in 2018. I was there, I want to say, before and then after. I had OU on both ends. I don't recall being there with him. I want to say it was the year before and then also the year after. But he had a great story with me. I just talking to him before he got his physical today about when he was benched in high school. And it was kind of an eye-opening experience for him. And he was, this kid was running circles around him. That was really not getting heavily recruited, and obviously his coach was all excited about this big kid he got to coach and put him in the game, and he didn't do real good starting off, and he had a rough start. And he sat him down and showed him tape with a kid that was there before, and this is what we expect. And he kind of had a little aha moment, and so I was like, it really at the end I said, there's an old saying, it doesn't matter where you start the race, it's where you finish. And so I know he had a little bit of a hiccup, I think, coming out in the draft with his workout. I mean, it's really, at this point, it's irrelevant. It's where he's at now and where he's at in the race. And he's pretty far along where you want to see a guy in the race. So it's hats off to him. It's kind of a neat story to hear that he wasn't really handed everything in life. He had to work at stuff, had to overcome things, and it's been better for him. So my hat's off to that high school coach who had the guts and the strength and the wisdom to bench the kid and have him learn maybe a little bit the hard way, not get something handed to him. And he's been better off for it, and he's done well.
Frank, you mentioned that you want to coach Jonah this year. How do you think he would transition to right tackle and making that switch?
Yeah, I mean, there'll be a little bit of a transition, but he's athletic. He's a smart player. He's a really good player in that regard. So I think he should have no problem getting over doing that with reps and concentrating. He's got a whole off season. Guys have been asked to do that all the time. There is a little bit of transition going left to right, but I'd say it'd be a little bit smoother than going from tackle to guard. So, but he's a good player. He's smart. He's athletic. He understands what he does best, and he's a technician type player. So I think he can do it. I have no problem transitioning over that side.
Orlando described himself kind of as old school, because, you know, maybe that athleticism isn't, you know, compared in size. Do you see that? Do you see him as a guy that could have fit in 20 years ago in the league?
Yeah, absolutely. He's the caliber player that could fit in any time with the league. He's talented. I mean, don't let "I'm not athletic" line fool you. I mean, he's a big man and he can move. It's impressive. So it's you got to have a measure of feet to play in space and balance, and he's got that, and he's really coordinated with his feet and hands, working together at the same time independently with his hands. So he's very impressive.
There was a lot of speculation from what happened with him and the Chiefs that apparently the Chiefs wanted him to move to right tackle, and then there was also another report that said most NFL teams view him as a right tackle. He said it's really important to him to be a left tackle. Did you view him as someone who could potentially play right tackle, or have you only ever seen him as a left tackle?
I see him as an outstanding football player. Like I mentioned, he's excelled at either side, and for the Bengals, he's going to be a left tackle, and I'm excited to have him.
He told the story from the 2018 Combine about your guys' meeting with him, and he said he totally botched a question that Marvin asked him. Do you remember that? Do you remember you guys?
I wish I did. I'm going to have to look back, but I wish I did.
He said Marvin asked him
Believe
the
me.
capital of Spain, and he said it was Portugal. And he knew he was wrong, but he knew he'd botch it. I just wondered, and he said a couple other things he didn't do well. Do you guys remember when he walked out of the room, what your...
I know this. We will not have that question on any of our playbook or anything on Sunday from the answer, but yeah, it's kind of funny, some things that approaches coaches and teams make or take to try to get inside a kid. How's he learn, how's he process, and all that stuff, and that that the whole nerves and all that stuff is something you always got to take into account. But yeah, that's funny.
You obviously want the player to be able to play well and proficiently at his position, but how much does it matter to you that a guy like Orlando could fit into the room well and understand the culture and all of that of the offense?
Well, that's huge. To me, that's line one. In the O-line room, culture is everything. You've got to earn your fit. It doesn't matter who you are or how you're coming at it into the room. You got to be part of that culture. And I think he's going to be a great part of that culture. He's going to work hard. He's got a great personality. He's not a prima donna. He's not a diva. He's not, he's all about ball. He's got a great lineage, so he understands the history of football in the league and a respect for it, which is kind of cool to see. But that's huge. Culture is everything. It's huge in our locker room, and to me, that's the secret sauce of teams in the league that have success. The NFL wanted parity, and they got it. What separates teams is football character and leadership in the room that comes out from the players, and we are very fortunate that Zach and Duke have done an outstanding job of cultivating that and brought in players that helped cultivate that, and it permeates throughout the whole locker room, and obviously it's found its way into my room, and that's line one. I mean, I hang my hat on that to the day I die. If you don't have that, you don't have a chance.
Thanks, Frank.